When a Stranger Calls, 2006.
This is part 2 of our in-depth discussion.
Part 2, in-depth discussion, horror movie review. We break it down CBC. Anyways.
So we left off.
We left off with the first call.
Stranger already called once and said nothing. He was just breathing. And then the alarm went off. So that was his time to sneak in.
So the alarm company called and she talked to him.
But they don't even, no one's even alarmed. They're just like, oh, let's just reset it or whatever. No, and she gets calls like so many times in this freaking movie though. Like,
also though, when she's on the phone with the alarm company, she's walking around the house and she looks upstairs because she sees like a light up there, and it's kind of like a suspicious shot where she's looking up and sees a light up there. She's like, okay. But anyway, so she hangs up with the alarm company, and then we get the second call from the killer, and he's like...
No, she walks up to the ecosystem.
Oh, yeah. She walks to the ecosystem.
Freaking grip-made movie set.
For another jump scare, the water turns on.
I think it's beautiful, though, yeah.
The water turns on, and she's like, oh, never again. So
all they do is juggle jump scares with phone calls, with another jump scare. Conversations.
Anyway, so it's the phone ring again, and it's the killer for the second time, and he's like, is everything okay? And she's like, what the, and freaking, what's the line?
She just thinks that it's just a joke.
Wrong number or
Phone
something.
call.
She hangs up, and then it's the outside shots.
Yeah, she isn't that alarmed yet.
Then it's the outside shots of the beautiful house, or like the lake at night, where it's a little bit dimmer.
Oh yeah, and the wind's blowing. They got all the set fans blowing.
And then the phone rings for the third time, and she's like, and then it's like the guy on there, and he's like, what are you wearing? What are you wearing? Like that, and freaking, and she's like, who is this? And she's like, this isn't funny, asshole. And then
she's like, combat boots and a parka. This isn't funny.
And he's like, yeah, it is. and then he hangs up.
So it was like a prank call from one of the high schoolers that she goes, one of her classmates.
It was like a star 6'9" from like a freaking middle schooler would do.
Okay, so she can't work the controls like we were saying. So she starts, it just starts going right back to the suspense and
No,
filler.
it goes back to the filler. She picks up the fire
she starts
poker.
following every noise she hears because there's no electricity on. She grabs the pitchfork from the fireplace.
She's not watching TV or anything, so she picks up the fire poker.
So she can hear
hears
everything.
The noise. She walks past the bird cage.
Like who does
It's a pretty tight shot of the bird cage, the animals in there. And then she walks away to the kitchen.
I heard they only had the birds for like some days of shooting, and then other days they had a stick on a string. If you watch the commentary of this movie.
Only like 2 days they had the birds. Anyway, so then she gets those poker, she walks past the birdcage thing, and then she makes her way to the kitchen, and then she hears the noise.
Decide to go right back to suspense, like she hears something in the noise, and then it's totally script filler, and it's the ice maker.
Freaking ice maker dropping ice, and she's like, okay.
It's totally imaginary written line.
Nah, so then she's like, okay, and then she looks in there, and she's like, oh, and pulls out a freaking cherry popsicle. And you're like, you're like, wow, Robo?
This plays homage to the original, opening scene of the original where she has the popsicle and it melts. So anyway, then it goes cutscene.
And then she goes to sit down.
I gotta say this before. No, yeah. Then it shows the bird and the stick on the string. No, and every time they press roll camera. All right, Camilla, Belle walk in. The phone just immediately starts ringing every time it's a cutscene. They don't let her walk around then.
Yeah, so she gets the popsicle and she's walking back. She passes the birdcage. Yeah, and it's the freaking fake birds thing. But anyways,
so then the phone's ringing when she's walking into the main living room with the popsicle. Yeah,
and then forgets to know.
That's the infamous.
Katie.
No, you think it's a prank phone call and no one answers, and she's just
the killer.
Hello.
And it's her right behind her, in the living room. And
I uploaded this scene on a freaking JBM 2005, and you're just like, oh my god, Katie Cassidy 05, smoking hot because they filmed this in 05.
Wow, no comment. Okay.
And Camilla was like, you don't just do this to people. Why didn't you call?
She's like, whoa.
I just did.
I just called. And then she's like, well, how'd you get in? She's like, the garage door is open. And then she freaking runs over there to check it out, and the garage door is
so much hotness on one screen.
And you're like, okay, if the garage, it's the outside garage door. So she goes, opens the inside garage door, goes in and sees it. She closes it. It's also the outside shot of the gate. She looks down the driveway. The gate's closed though.
Yeah, I couldn't even pay attention. It was so hot.
Wow. So freaking no comment. So she goes back inside. Then she's like, what are you doing here? Why'd you drive all the way out here and waste gas?
No, she's like, I've been getting crank phone calls. And she's like, so then I answer the phone. And she's like, I might be expecting a call. From who? Bobby? What's it to you?
She's like, I want to say I'm sorry.
And then they go on a bunch of freaking,
She's like, we've been best friends. Yeah, it's so stupid. And she's like, hey, I'm a bitch. She's like, hey, I'm a bitch. Okay.
She's just like, I never got. Well, he asked me out first, and I never got my kiss because he dumped me the first day that he saw you. So, and she's like, you know what? That's the lamest excuse
she's like,
ever.
so I had to come into me.
She's like, Jill, I'm a bitch.
She's like, everybody knows it.
You
Get
know
over
that.
It.
I know that. Everyone knows that. Get
All
over
right.
it.
Anyway. Then she's like, freaking. Oh.
So they're like, it's a
rich
rich house.
I bet they have a bar. And she freaking goes over there, and she's like, tequila. And she's like, and then freaking Jill's like, I thought we just said stop drinking. She tells her to stop drinking.
Yeah, in the middle of them. And then you were like, you were serious while she's holding the tequila.
Yeah.
So then she kicks Katie out.
She says, like, I bet they have a killer bar.
Tiffany,
Anyways.
her name's Tiffany in the movie. Anyways, Katie leaves and it's like...
She's like, alright, we'll leave. And she freaking out. And then Jill, like, walks out with her purse.
Dope,
and
creepy
hands her the
feel.
purse. She goes out, gets to her car, and then she's looking around. She's at the wind. She's
I love the way they shot this
She's like,
movie,
man, I feel a little scared now. And then freaking, she gets her car, she drops her keys, and then freaking she has.
And
so
they got the
added
fans
suspense.
blowing because it's a storm starting.
It's every cliche. So she drops the keys.
It's a real creepy feel.
Freaking can't find him in the car. Gets him. Freaking puts him in. Gets in. She locks her doors.
Oh yeah, they throw every
she's scared.
everything that could go wrong does go wrong. She drops the keys. The car wouldn't start slowly.
So alright, this part's retarded.
And she's backing up, and the storm just started.
And there's a little freaking twig blocking
tree
like
branch
the
that you could throw
the gate.
into a tree grinder.
No, you could pick the branch up and balance it like a bat and freaking like a circus or some shit.
So then she goes out to move it.
She's a total pussy.
And it goes to sketchy like zoom cam, and they run up with the camera, and it doesn't show you the death.
Oh yeah, so this is where she gets killed, and freaking the camera shot is like a shaky zoom in, and then it's cut.
This is why everyone hates the movies, because they don't have any gore, no blood.
And you're like, wow. Okay, so freaking.
Oh, you're not gonna show me what happens, huh? It's a horror, like.
So Katie
they lead you all the way
gets
up
killed.
No, they don't show you what happens to her.
Yeah, I'm saying she gets killed.
You get.
You know she's dead. Come on,
it's freaking stranger
it's
attacks
like
her.
it's like the 1950s how they shot.
They leave it up to your imagination. You're like, oh yeah, he definitely raped her in the freaking blacktop.
Wow, I thought she just got killed.
Wow, you just want to rape her.
Wow. Okay, no.
Anyway.
Okay, so
then the pop in the middle of that, they keep on going back, and the popsicle melts.
Yeah,
she throws it in a pot,
they
like
cut
in
back
the
to her
kitchen.
and
She can't find the trash.
She can't find the trash and puts it in the freaking pot on the stove, and you're like, wow, what a true thing a 16-year-old bitch would do. She'd be like, I can't find the trash, even though you just open up a cupboard something on the ground, lower level.
So you start to hate the main character. You're
she
like,
puts her in the pot, and you're like, wow.
You're like, they're both bitches.
She like the
blonde and the brunette.
So you're like, the missus is gonna come home, and she's gonna have to freaking wash that pan, and you're like, wow.
So anyway, of course, then the door knocks. This is one of the scariest things that happens to her.
Hey,
it's like a house, and she thinks it's obviously
she opens
Tiffany,
the door,
and no one's there, of course.
Because it's like, the way they shot it is like, it could be like, her, just running back because she got scared, from the killer. But freaking, it's like, do knock on the door, and she opens it up, and then no one's there. So of course,
right when they cut scene, the phone immediately starts ringing, like we said, hardcore, and you think it's the killer. But no, it's her gay boyfriend who's 32 named Bobby.
And it's like fading,
and he's at the party.
Fading in and out, and it's like, and it's showing.
She's like, I won't get mad.
It's showing the cutscenes.
She's like, I won't get mad. Did your stoner buddies prank call me? How many times did they call? He's like, yeah, I think they called once.
And he's like, let me find out. Nah, but anyways, when Wasselwild's showing you,
and anyway,
the cuts
one of
back,
those big bump.
Anyways, it's cutting back between the freaking high school party shots of him, of Bobby, and freaking and it's like a freaking 30-foot Wicker Man statue burning, and it's like kids
Texas
in the
it's
kids in the lake, like freaking like 3 kids in a canoe, and they're like hitting the paddles on the water, and you're like, wow, this is a freaking high school bonfire.
This is totally set up by.
And it's like the whole school there.
This is totally coordinated.
No, it's like band kids.
No
and freaking
17-year-old. They don't even show it that yet. They don't even show it that much. So she gets this. We'll go into the party more later.
Go on.
No, so then she gets disconnected. Then the phone starts ringing immediately again, of course, and it's Tiffany, Katie Cassidy's character's cell phone on the caller ID.
Yeah, she sees a cell phone. She picks it up. She's like,
"Who is this?
I know it's you. I have caller ID, dummy."
So then she's like, "Who is this?" And like the stranger's like freaking just making sure that it's like a hot young girl. He's like moved on to like 100-mile town away. He's like, "All right, yeah, I think." He's like, "Her friend's hot. She's hot." He's totally scoping it out. He's like, I don't want to nail me some 55-year-old bag. So anyway, she calls her black friend at the party.
Yeah. She's like, hey.
No, this is when it shows the extras up the butt at the party.
Yeah,
and it's like
shows the
band
kids-
geeks and it's like cheerleaders
guys-
in uniform.
No, it shows two guys walking with,
Like, what the
the
hell?
trumpet, and they're like playing out a tune. They're like, boop, boop, just making noises.
And the token kid in the
You're
beanie,
like,
and
okay.
you're like, hey, there's a kid from LA who's here in a beanie.
And you're like, this is this is the part where you're like, what a movie, because there's no way it'd be a high school party with teachers there and a 30-foot wicker man statue
It's like
burning.
you're missing out.
It would like burn and freaking fall into the river right on top, or into the lake right on top of the kids. Go.
I know, like this 17-year-olds, you could get pallets for like a kegger, let alone a 30-man wicker man statue.
Exactly.
So anyway,
Especially a school.
this is when Jill starts semi-freaking out. They totally wrote this as a script. They're like, hey, this is the semi-freaking out. So she tries to call Mrs. Mindrakis and the restaurant. She looks up at all the numbers on the refrigerator.
restaurant's like, no, they left, and she's like, that's what I thought.
And the restaurant number's laminated on the refrigerator, too.
Laminated?
Because I guess they go there.
Like in the 90s where you laminated everything. Go.
And then she calls the cops for the first time. She's like, I've been getting prank phone calls. Has he threatened you? Okay, has he used obscene language? Total actor lines. Total white guy dispatcher lines. She's like, no. So then the cop tells her, like, hey, are any friends with you that you call? She's like, no, I'm babysitting. They're out at a high school kegger. She tells them about the high school party, like, where all the kids are getting wasted. Like, who would do that while they're babysitting? Anyway.
So she
Wow,
loses,
no comment
I'm
on
saying
me?
she loses the connection with the black chick.
Can you
And then
believe
also
L-mid?
they show the black cat in the kitchen there, also, or like on the steps. It's a pretty tight shot.
No, so
she calls her dad.
No, then the cops were
Calls the
like,
restaurant.
hold up, the cops about the kegger, they were like, what did the cops say about the kegger? They were like, oh yeah, we have a few dispatches going out
he's like,
there.
there's not much we can do about it.
He's
the
like,
guys
we'll send a dispatch out to you in 20 minutes, and we heard about that party. It's kind of crazy.
No, she's like, she's like, I'm supposed to be at a high school party. She's like, yeah, we got a couple units out there. It's
Anyway,
pretty crazy. It's
Then,
hilarious.
and then in the middle of that conversation, she noticed that the housekeeper's
stole
car
my
is
line.
still there.
Go on.
I was waiting for you to even talk.
No,
about
I
it.
had it, and you were going. Go on.
So then she notices the housekeeper's car is still there in the middle of that too. And it's back to like...
And she's like, Rosa?
Oh yeah, it's back to Ring Around the Rosa filler.
Ring
like
around the Rosa filler.
and you're like, what the fuck? Like, looking for the maid. And then she calls Rosa's cell phone on the...
She
like
calls
3
her phone.
times. And she gets the
No,
voicemail.
she hears it ringing, and she freaking...
She gets the voicemail and it's freaking...
She's like, no.
And it's like hardcore the freaking maid from like Family Guy.
The Mexican maid, where she's like, no.
She's like,
no.
we're out of pine salt.
I clean.
Oh.
Clean.
Every time she calls her, she gets the voicemail. She's like,
Alright, I can't find the maid.
where did I leave off now in my notes? Stranger calls. Oh, then the stranger calls for the 4th time. He's like, have you checked the children? The infamous line. You know, from the original.
Also, no, she went up to the bathroom and it was the coat rack jump scare. Before the 4th time the killer calls. And then freaking, have you checked the children? So then she's like,
starting to freak out.
she's kind of like she's kind of freaking out, kind of, and freaking.
She walks slowly. She doesn't even go and like run and check the children.
Yeah, she goes
like,
up slow. No, it's a total slow filler of like 2 minutes her going up the stairs.
and she goes up
opens the
there
children's
like
room.
she turns on the light and it's just a bunch of stuff
And
filled
it's
from
just
like
free-
natural wonders and it's
Yeah,
just
it's like
like,
the thing-
oh, there goes
the glow thing.
there goes the children
And you're like-
nestled safely in their freaking.
And it's like, oh, the rich
In
ass
their
kids
rich house.
nestled safely. Okay. So then she goes back downstairs.
All right, we're gonna go to part 3 of When a Stranger Calls, 2006.
In-depth
Camilla
horror
Belle,
discussion
Katie
3,
Cassidy,
part
05
3.
Smokin.
We'll go back to where we left off.